Hi Ducks, how are you? So, today is November the 30th, 2025. It is the end of the now officially Your Party, the name of the party, very confusing, the new party of the left wing in the United Kingdom, in England and Wales and Scotland. It was a shit show. It was a shit show to start with. The the attempts by Zara to push the narrative of the party forming and to get it going has created a lot of difficulties and divide within the party. Her platform contradicts with Jeremy Corbyn's platform. Jeremy Corbyn didn't seem like he wanted to do this in the first place, and if he did, he wanted to take his time at it. Zara wanted to do it quickly. All power to Zara. She's a great MP. She's a great politician. She's a great activist. She's a great fighter. But it has caused problems. So before the conference started, there was a lot of issues around the formation of the party, a lot of questions, where the money's gone, threats of lawsuits, all sorts of things like that. Before, on the eve of the conference, two MPs who broadly are part of the steering committee and the MP base in the Commons, made up of the 5, I believe it is, independent MPs in the Commons, they resigned. They don't want nothing to do with it anymore. There's a number of reasons why that is, and transphobia plays into it, but they don't want anything to do with it. So the party has had a rocky start. We hoped that the conference would be the start of something brilliant. It would blossom, it would galvanise together, we would have a direction, we would have a route plan, we would know where we were going in the left with the new party of the left. Zara held a rally on Friday, the 28th, I think it was, the 28th of November, on the Friday before the rally. A number of speakers spoke. The questions that were asked to Zara after she had given her speech weren't really questions, they were rants. And soon it became apparent that people were being expelled and stopped from coming to the conference. The SWP had all been expelled from the party. Not every single member, but the leadership of the SWP, the Socialist Workers' Party, who had joined your party, they were all expelled. I'm no lover of the SWP. If you're a trans activist and you work in trans politics and you activist on the streets, you know how toxic the SWP are. You know how they infiltrate everything. They worm their way into everything. They think they know everything. They're a very undemocratic organisation, in my opinion, personally. And there are some serious allegations around some of their leaders, allegedly. I'm not going to say any more. But if you're going to have a broad church of socialist parties, you need everybody on the left wing in that tent. You need them all in there. If you're going to create a party of the left, you need everybody in the left. These are people who have been activists for decades. They've worked on the streets, they've galvanised organisations, they've led people's assemblies. They know what they're doing when it comes to organisation. So to throw them out on the eve of the conference was rude. The conference kicked off. It is a shit show. The conference reminded me of the trade union conferences in the late 70s and the divisive Labour Party conferences in the 80s under Kinnock. It was a car crash. You couldn't take your eyes off it. It's like rubbernecking on the motorway when you've seen an accident. You couldn't take your eyes off it. It was appalling. I had Clara around here watching it with me, and there were times when I was just openly laughing at how ridiculous the whole thing was. Delegates on the main stage arguing with delegates who'd come up to make speeches, people rowing that the party was not following the principles they believed it was, that the conference had changed its amendments and clauses so to work it in so Jeremy could get what he wanted, people talking about unelected bureaucrats running the party, people behind in closed rooms making decisions behind closed doors. It wasn't good. The chair of Zara's rally, who chaired Zara's rally on the Friday, he turned up to the conference and he had been expelled. Now, whilst all this was going on, I reached out to a friend of mine. I have a number of friends in the Socialist Party branch in Southampton. As you know, I used to be a member of the party. And I was messaging backwards and forwards with him, and he admitted that it had been a hectic start, chaotic start. It wasn't good, but in his mind, the genie was out the bottle. Well, the genie's out the bottle, but he's not granting anybody any wishes. It was just appalling. The argument was over how democratic the party is. The argument was over if the party was going to be led by the delegates, by the members, not a board, as I've said already, behind closed doors, making decisions. Rules of who could attend the meeting and who could be accepted into the hall were just made up. No one had voted on them. No one had decided them. No one had proposed them. They were just made up and inflicted on the delegates who were turning up to the conference, who'd paid lots of money to travel all the way across the country to book hotel rooms in Liverpool, which is not cheap this time of year. And they couldn't even get in the hall. But the Socialist Party were allowed into the hall, and they did have a number of delegates. And two people from the local area in Southampton and Eastleigh spoke on the stage. They were all arguing for more democratic leadership from the members. Power to the branches, not centralised. It's almost like Jeremy Corbyn's created a Labour 2.0, that he's still stuck in 2015 during the general election. 2017, sorry. He's still stuck in the 2017 general election. He can't get out of that bubble. In my opinion, Jeremy Corbyn is not a very good leader. All you have to do is look at his career as leader of the Labour Party. This is a man who was attacked viciously as an anti-Semite, a racist, a terrorist, and he never once shot back. He never stood his ground. He never argued his case. He just let it all flow over him. He did nothing. He's a nice, mild-mannered English country gentleman who makes jam and has an allotment. He's not a leader of a political party. The culture of Corbyn has to end. I don't know what it takes to end the culture of Corbyn. He's a great MP. He's great to his constituents. He's a great fighter. He stands on good causes. If he was my local MP, I would probably vote for him. But he's not a good political leader. He's not a get down in the dirt, dirty fighter. It's the same with Bernie Sanders, a nice guy. Nice guys don't win in politics. You've got to have a cutthroat attitude in politics to get anywhere. I know there's a lot of people on the left who don't think that. We should all be nice and everything. But politics isn't like that. If you want to get your views across, if you want to lead, you need to be strong and decisive. And Jeremy Corbyn is none of those things. Now, the party did choose, against Jeremy Corbyn's wishes, as far as I can tell, to have a dual leadership. So it looks like Zara and Jeremy Corbyn will be the two leaders of your party. I don't know how effective that's going to be. The Greens used to do that and it never helped them. No one knew who to go to for comment. No one knew who to take seriously during press conferences. It was divided between the two of them. It may work for your party. They're both strong politicians. They're both well known in the media. The Green MPs who were leaders, co-leaders, weren't that well known. But I'm not a fan of dual leaderships. I don't think they work. They just distract. And if you have two leaders, one who's playing it safe and taking it slow, and the other one who's shooting off into the distance, I don't know if Zara's going to drag Jeremy with her, or they're just going to come butting up heads, but they very rarely shared a platform through the whole conference. They were on stage once together. Jeremy didn't attend Zara's rally. He sent a message. Zara didn't attend his rally. She sent a message. I think when Zara gave her speech, Jeremy was in the hall, but as soon as both of them had spoken, they both got up separately and left. It was just a shit show. I was really annoyed. I don't know how frustrating I can make it out to you. How frustrating it is as a leftist to watch all the left-wing parties in the country come together in one place, and then half of them get chucked out before the weekends even started, and the rest of them just turn into infighting and factionalism. I don't think they're going to be a force in electoral politics. As it stands at the moment, I can't see them doing well in the local elections in May 2026. They may get it out of the bag. There may be a large percentage of left-wingers who can't bring themselves to vote Green for a number of reasons, and they may vote for your party because they're the only other option. But I can't see them doing anything about sweeping the board like a lot of us on the left kind of hoped that was going to happen. It's going to be a slow burn. And as Owen Jones said in his interview with Turn Left on YouTube, we haven't got ages. The next general election is fast approaching. A lot can happen in 3.5 years. Politics is a funny game. A lot can happen in 3.5 years. The whole demographic, not the demographic, the whole voter base could shift. Reform are leading in the polls, but that could change. Greens could start pulling out ahead. Your party could, if it gets its act together, start picking up more polling figures than they have at the moment. But this conference was not the launch of the party that everybody was expected. I had a feeling it was going to be like this. I just felt, from what I know of left-wing politics, kind of working in it and dabbling in it since the late 80s, early 90s, I just got this feeling it's not going to go well. And then after I saw the rally on the Friday, I just knew it was going to be a shit show. It's factionalism. And that's all the left seems to be. Factionalised. We divide ourselves into our own little groups and we think we know we've got the answers to everything. Your party was supposed to be a broad church. It was supposed to bring all these organisations in together that have worked on the streets for decades, who have led the poll tax protests in the 90s and stuff like that, who've led these movements. The dongers at the motorways, the bypass in Newbury, the bypass at Winchester, all organisations like that in the 90s, spanning right the way up to the current day. The Gaza protests, the Palestinian supporting protests, all that sort of stuff, the anti-racism protests. People have been working on the streets for decades. And the moment we get our chance, it just falls through our fingers like water. It was ridiculous. It's the most frustrating, annoying thing I've ever seen. But at the same time, rather funny. I did laugh a number of times during the stream because it was just getting so pathetic. Rowing with the speakers when they got up to speak. The speakers arguing political points and attacking the chairs. I haven't seen any, mate. I have watched Channel 4 do a piece on the conference. They did a short video on their YouTube channel. I haven't watched anything else. Most of the commentary I've watched has been from left-wingers like Turn Left and Novara Media. A little piece about Novara Media. I did think a lot of their questions were softball, but there was one that got my interest when they were interviewing Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn was talking about how stand up to racism were allowed in the hall and they had their stall outside. And the journalist had to point out that all the stand up to racism delegates had been suspended and expelled. And Jeremy Corbyn's comments were, I didn't know that. I hadn't heard that. Well, if he didn't know that and he hadn't heard that, who's running the party? Who's in control of the party? Who's making the decisions? It's just Labour 2.0. That's what it looks like. I was hoping it would be better, but it wasn't very good. It reminded me of the 80s, when the left ate itself and capitalism sat back and laughed. And it looks like they're doing it again. A broad left coalition, but you can't come in because of this, that and the other. It doesn't work. You either are a broad tent and you have everybody underneath the tent, or you have nobody and you just do it on your own. You either organise it as a broad church or you just parlour it off into your own subgroup and you do your own thing. Like the Socialist Party, the Socialist Workers' Party, the Democratic Alternative have done. You have stalls in the high street, you hand out papers, you hand out leaflets. You take part in local campaigns and that's about the sum of it. Or you stand for local elections and general elections, but you're lucky if you get a couple of hundred votes. This was a chance of something good, and now it looks like it's a chance of total failure. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll speak to you again soon. Goodbye, everybody.